There we go. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Engineers Without Filters podcast, episode 120. I'm your host, Jacob Thompson, and tonight got a little special treat. Before I left Minneapolis, I picked myself up the Press Variety Pack 2 for the first time. So I've been working through that, and tonight I got the Pear Chamomile Seltzer. I tell you what, Variety Pack 1, I think, it's got its mountain, it's got its valleys. You got the blackberry hibiscus at the top, you got the lime lemongrass at the bottom, and then the other two are kind of in the middle. The second variety pack is much more consistent. I think all four are just like solid. None of them are blow my skirt up. None of them I'm like dreading to drink. You know, they're all this banger, 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 banger. So I didn't expect that, but I appreciate it a lot.
Doesn't the second one have that apple cinnamon?
Mm-hmm.
I think that one's pretty good.
I like
It's
that.
surprisingly good.
I feel like it's good in small doses, but I haven't had a full one, so I can't speak too much on that.
You don't think it would work, right? As like a seltzer, but it surprisingly works, and like I don't hate it.
Yeah.
So my least favorite is probably the pineapple basil. That's just because of my personal preferences, and my favorite's the lingonberry elderflower because it's berries. But yeah, no, it's a solid variety pack. Would recommend.
Good to know. I'm Joseph, and I have a tangerine space machine from New Holland once again. So good.
Son of a bitch.
So good. It's my last one, so it's a little sad, but I'll be back in Southwest Michigan in early July, so be able to pick up some more.
Get a refill.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm Gabe, and I've got the Shorts Brewery Soft Parade.
Classic.
You can only get it in, well, I guess you can get it other places, but they don't sell it in Minneapolis, I don't think. Maybe
Really?
they do at Total Wine.
No, they don't sell any shorts.
Yeah, so I found it in Michigan when we went up for Memorial Day and took it back with me. Got a big pack. So you'll probably see it next week too.
Very nice.
Hang on 1 second. I'm fixing something on this stream.
I can say look over Dayton. Oh shit, he's fixing something.
Yeah.
Fill for time.
Okay,
the third monitor is very telling.
When my neck is
craned.
over.
He's had his neck problems ever since.
Dude, come on. Anyway, yeah, I am Dayton, and I am drinking. So I've had one of these so far. It is the Outer Light Brewing Company Right by Night. So Outer Light is a brewery that's like literally 5 minutes away from me. I could bike there if I wanted to. And they're pretty solid. This beer is pretty damn good. It's a session, not too heavy. It's at like 5%. Hits the spot.
Right by Night. I would think that'd be a dark beer, but I guess not.
No, it's like a campfire beer. Like if you look at like on the back, there's like a campfire like thing on
My only question is, why didn't we go there when I visited? And how dare you?
I don't know.
Wow. I'm not important enough to bring you to the brewery, I guess.
Also, why did I never hear about this place when I lived there if it was 5 minutes
Because
away?
they were closed. They were closed due to COVID.
I know they were closed. I assume I remember you mentioning this being so close
I'm
by.
pretty sure that we got Outer Light beer at the Packy.
I don't think so. I remember getting Beard.
I mean, Beard is better than Outer Light, I would say.
Yeah. Anyway, it's classic Dayton gaslighting over here.
Oh my Lord.
Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. As always, you can find our show on most Mondays on YouTube and podcast services around 8:30 a.m. Eastern. You can also follow us on Instagram at ewfpodcast and follow us on Twitch at ewf_podcast. Sorry we had a miss last week. We'll get into that in a second. But it's good to take a break every once in a while. Spend some time apart from each other, talking just on the microphones. Also, I listened to the last episode without me, and I know Gabe, you were trying to downplay it, said you weren't a very good host. It was fine. I got no complaints. I could tell a little bit after the middle of the podcast, there was like one point where I could just hear through the silence. You could just be like sweating and like somebody fucking say something. But
Yeah.
after
I
that,
think I
it
know
was fine.
exactly
See,
what point you're talking
yeah.
about
Wait,
too.
hang on a second, Jacob. Did you watch the video or did you listen to the audio?
I listened to the audio,
Okay, because there was
but
one
I could
section.
hear it.
There was one section in the audio where I actually cut out some silence
Oh my god.
because there was
Yeah,
like
there was
I was
like
listening to it and I'm just like, oh, ew.
there was a couple sections where we didn't really have anything coming up, so it was a little rough, but
Yeah, it happens.
I appreciate everyone sticking through and listening through it. So I guess
Yeah.
Dayton edited it out, so you don't even know it exists. So
Well, now we're back with with the four of us. First, the four of us been on the podcast for what feels like forever. Been like over a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, back
it's
to
been
a
a
normal
long
episode.
time.
So yeah, let's just start with catching up. What's been going on the past couple of weeks, and I can start with the reason we had to miss last week was because so as I mentioned, I was in Minnesota the weekend before Memorial Day, um, hanging out with Gabe and Joseph, some of my high school friends, my family and stuff, and had a good time. Uh, Drank some beers, had a little campfire action. Gabe was just fucking shooting threes
Oh
in
yeah.
cornhole for
Dude,
some
I was
ungodly reason. He was on fire, dude.
I was the perfect level of drunk. I was hitting like at least 9 points, like 3 rounds
This
in a row. It
man
was
could not be
insane.
stopped. But he paid for it the next day because his wrist got fucked up.
It still
So,
hurts. So
suffering from success over here.
yeah.
But yeah, had a good time, and I decided to drive home to Indiana on Wednesday. So get in my car, and I'll tell you what, I'm not gonna lie to you. After me and Emily got there on Thursday night, the next time I drove my car, which was for a few days, when I turned it on, I heard something weird, but the idling was like rough. Then it stopped. I'm like, okay, I guess it's fine. I'll be fine driving home. I just got an oil change. They would have seen something if it was wrong. So I leave Wednesday morning. I'm trucking, I get around about 2.5 hours into the drive, maybe 3 hours. I'm like, all right, it's time for some lunch. So I roll up in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin, and I get me some Jimmy John's. But I'll tell you what, Joseph, as soon as I got off the highway and slowed down, shit was not sounding good. It was very, very loud idling, and I'm like, oh God.
The
And I
road noise was just blocking it out.
Or
Yeah.
it's music, maybe.
Or
Yeah,
it was only
music.
happening when I was slowed down, which I think was the case. But
Could be.
I get to the drive-through, get my sandwich, I park, I turn my car off, and the sound it made, I'm like, this isn't turning back on, is it? Something was bad. And I'm like, let's just see. Try to turn back on, and it's like, it's trying, but it wasn't happening. I'm like, oh, fuck. So I eat my sandwich. I'm like, all right, game plan.
First things first. Gotta eat.
First thing first, gotta eat the sandwich, okay? We gotta be on a full stomach to problem solve this. Call my mom, as anyone would do. And I'm like, all right, don't freak out. Car kind of broke down in the middle of Wisconsin. And she's like, oh, we have AAA, it's fine. We just call them and we'll get it sorted. I'm like, great. I call AAA using her account. And I don't call them, I use like the website or whatever. Put all the information, I need a tow. And they're like, great, we'll be there in 1 hour. Perfect. Wait about 20, 25 minutes, right? And then they call me like, hey, just gotta get more information. What's going on? Do you need a tow or a battery? I'm like, no, I need a tow. It's not a battery, I can just tell. And like, all right, we got you. Be there in another 40 minutes or something. I'm like, that's more than I wanted to wait, but whatever. I wait like 30 minutes, Joseph. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm checking their like little app to see if there's any update on this tow truck. I see nothing. Nothing is happening. So like, okay, let me just call him back and see what's going on. So I call back AAA. I get a different guy. I'm like, I got a bad feeling about this. A different guy. Like, hey, just try to get an update on this tow truck. And he's like, what was the name? And I give him like, Thompson, first name. I'm like, fuck. My mom's name. Because I knew I wasn't supposed to do this because if it's under my mom's name, AAA is through your name, not your car. So I get my mom's name, and he's like, and she's gonna be there when the tow truck gets there. I'm like, well, no, like she's like 2.5 hours away. He's like, well, she has to be there because it's her account. But I'm like, it's her car though. He's like, no. AAA is through the person, not the car. I'm like, fuck. All right, I guess I'll just join AAA then. He's like, okay. In order for you to join, we got to cancel this whole request and redo it. I'm just like, mother of fucking God. Fine, okay. cancels the request, give him my credit card. This takes like, 15 minutes to get this whole thing signed up. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, just give me a goddamn tow truck. Blah, blah. Okay. Redid the request. And meanwhile, while I'm talking to him, I'm getting calls from the tow truck company. I'm
Mhm.
not answering because I'm talking to this guy. He's like, all right, let me figure out what's going on with the tow truck and I'll call you back. I'm like, great. I call back tow truck guy. I'm like, hey, so I know you're supposed to be coming to get me. Can you just still come? Because like it was through a different person getting got canceled and it's redoing. Just still come. And he's like, all right, I guess I'll call AAA. It's just a fucking shit show, right? Finally, AAA calls back like, all right, tow truck coming. And I'm like, great. I wait another goddamn like 30, 40 minutes. It's been like 3 hours at this point. And I call him again. I'm like, hey, where the fuck is this tow truck? And they're like, yeah, it'll be there by 3:45. So I had gotten there around 12:30 p.m. This is like by 3:45. So I've been there for hours at this point. And I'm like, I don't believe you, but okay. Finally, the tow truck company calls me at like 3:30, and the guy's, hey there. Yeah, I'm just leaving now. We're about 20 miles away, so I'll be there in, whatever, 30 minutes. And I'm like, you were like the tow truck company was 20 miles away this entire fucking time, and they had never dispatched a truck.
Why don't you just call the tow truck company like directly and be like,
Well,
fucking tow me?
because then the paying how you pay is different, 'cause then you're paying them directly.
Then it's not through
AAA.
AAA.
Is
Yeah,
it cheaper through AAA? I
yeah, it
don't
is.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Well,
insurance, right?
or so I thought, Gabe. We'll get to that. So, and because on one of these fucking phone calls, they had said, just a heads up, like you only have like 5 miles of free towing. And then they like hung up, and I was like, that doesn't sound right. So I asked my mom, like, don't we have like 100 miles of free towing? She's like, yeah, it's 100 miles. I'm like, okay, that's weird. So before the tow truck got there, I called them back. I was like, hey, can I just check to see how much free towing I have? And they checked, oh yeah, it's 5 miles. I'm like, 5 miles? Like it should be 100, shouldn't it? She's like, well, once you join AAA, it takes 3 days for your full benefits to kick in.
Oh
So
my
it takes 72
God.
hours for you to get 100 miles of free towing. So you only have 5 until that happens. I'm like, mother of fucking God. Because I had been calling some of the repair shops in this tiny little town, and they're all booked. Like they're all like 2 weeks, at least 3 days before we can look at it. Just like, tons of time. So we have to probably tow it to this town the tow truck was in 20 miles away, which would be like $70 to tow it at that point because it's a 5 miles for every mile above the 5 miles. Sorry, $5 for a mile above the 5 miles. So it's a fucking lot of money. Anyway, tow truck finally fucking comes. And I tell you what, this guy was great. He was a nice guy. And Joseph, remember in Letterkenny there's the Mennonites? And
Yeah,
they
yeah,
always they end everything by saying once at the end of it.
yeah, yeah.
This is the first guy I remember who actually did that, and it was really cool. And he's like, "Let me open up the hood once." I'm like, "Dude, you got it, man." He couldn't figure out what was going on. And he's like, "All right, so I'm gonna tow you, but here's the thing. Just got a phone call, and there's an emergency car that broke down on the highway. I have to go get them first, and then I'll come back and get you. So I'll be back in like 30 minutes. Like, are you fucking kidding me right now?"
Oh my
Yikes.
And I'm
God.
like, all right, it's an emergency. I guess go get these guys stuck on the highway. And at this point, my phone's about to die. And because it's been fucking 4 hours. And I'm just like, okay. And there's a Jimmy John's and a Verizon store behind me. Jimmy John's dining room is closed because of COVID. Verizon was open. I'm like, I'm just gonna go in there. They've been looking out the window the whole time, I'm sure. I
Yeah.
go in there. I'm like, hey, can I please like charge my phone? Like my car broke down. Like, dude, it's fine. Like they know, and I've been there forever. So I start talking to these guys. We're having a good time. 30 minutes goes by, nothing. 45 minutes goes by, nothing. I'm like, what the fuck? 15 minutes goes by, tow truck company calls me. Different dude. Hey, I'm just leaving now. Be there in about 30 minutes. What happened to the first guy? So I'm like, okay. The tow truck finally gets there. And I tell you, my car did not get towed for like 5.5 hours.
Fuck.
I couldn't. And at one point, I called them like, you can like leave. Like, we'll just come get it. I'm like, no, I can't leave. I don't live here. I'm in the middle of fucking nowhere. This
Where am
guy
I gonna
finally,
go?
where am I gonna go? Guy finally comes. He again is trying to figure out what's wrong. Dude, just fucking tow my car. Thank God, one of the shops had called me back and they said, hey, we can actually see it like tomorrow. But it had closed at this point because it's been 5 fucking hours. So he just dropped it off there and they looked at it the next day. But I was like, Jesus fucking God. So he towed it. I walked to a hotel, went to the hotel, yada, yada, yada. I'm just so pissed off. Next day, the shop calls me and like, hey, it's the AC compressor. It's not letting the belt is like fucked and it's too tight, so your engine can't turn over because there's too much tension. So we got to replace the entire thing. It won't get here till Friday morning, but then we can fix it. You can be on your way. So I had to spend a whole day in the hotel on Thursday doing fucking nothing, watching One Piece all day. It was honestly kind of nice, like because I didn't have anything to do and there wasn't anything I could do to be productive. Like there was no responsibility. It's kind of nice to just chill in there all day. And then yeah, finally got fixed on Friday. Like I left like around 1 p.m. and then I drove home in the fucking annoying ass storm. But we did it. But Jesus God, I was so fucking. And the thing is, like, I was angry, but there's no one. It was like nobody's fault. You know what I mean? Like, I won't be mad at AAA, but they like did what they could. Like, they dispatched the call, and like the tow truck had to be available for that to happen. I think the tow truck company was just over. They were just too busy. They didn't have a truck available to come get me until that time. And it was just, but I was just so angry. But there's no one to be mad at. You know, I wanted to fucking scream at somebody, but you know, was what it was. But yeah, that was a fucking experience. Could have been a lot worse, but yeah, wasn't too happy about that. So that was my journey home. And I had to miss the podcast because that happened on Thursday.
So, yeah, because when you said something about it earlier, you said it was the AC motor. And I was kind of thinking, like, how would not having AC cause
My
your
engine not
car to not start? But that makes a lot more sense.
So what I was wondering was just if I had turned off the AC, would I have been able to drive home? Because theoretically, if the AC is off, the AC compressor shouldn't be applying tension to the belt that connects it to the engine. Uh, so if I had like known it was the compressor and just not turned my AC the entire way home, I might have been fine.
But if you
But I
could
don't know.
start it, well, I guess because
But
you
I was
could
trying to
have
start
it
it
as
while
a
the
battery.
AC was on.
Yeah.
So if I turned the AC off, it wouldn't have gone to the compressor. I don't know. I don't know enough about cars to know. It had to be fixed anyway. And I guess what? My AC's been broken for years, and I got AC again, like cold air. So that's nice. Dayton remembers we had to drive up to fucking Vermont last summer, and it
Oh
was
my-
fucking miserable
Dude, that
because
was
my car didn't
so
have
hot.
AC. It was bad. So, and that's the
Silver
funny thing. It's
lining.
like my car hasn't had cold air for a while, but and that ended up being the thing that broke my car down. And now it's all fixed. It was just one part that had to be fixed. So
Amazing.
kind of nice.
Probably been your engine's probably been working at it.
No, I hope
Probably
it
get
hasn't
better
had, like,
gas
long-term
mileage
effects.
if it's been fighting against the compressor this long.
I know, and it already gets pretty good gas mileage. So, but yeah, it was funny though. Like just before I left, I was talking to my friend Chris about how every other car in my family has had this major like issue. My car's always been totally fine, and then the next fucking day I drive home and it breaks down. Just like,
Yeah,
oh,
you
of
jinxed yourself,
course,
dude.
yeah, I
That
totally
should've
That's
been in
what I'm
the-
talking about.
They should have been in the coincidences podcast.
I know.
Yeah, you could
I-
have been there.
I had a couple I wanted to talk about, but I wasn't here, so I couldn't do it.
Well,
Yeah,
it was a
would've-
coincidence that you happened to not be on that podcast when you had a great coincidence to talk about.
Bada bing, bada boom. There it is.
Just
Boom,
layers.
big brain in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wrinkly brain looking mother over here.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
I was just wondering, like, what if that happened when me and Emily were driving up? Like, what a nightmare that would have
You'd
been.
have had
Yeah.
company
That
at
was like,
least.
Yeah.
That's true.
yeah, I guess. But we didn't leave Chicago until 5 p.m. You know, it could have been a lot worse. But
Yeah.
I don't
But
know. It's
I
like
made
you
it-
just leave the car
made it home.
somewhere, get an Uber to a hotel, and then just fix it in the morning. I don't know.
I mean, you guys showed up at like midnight that night anyway, so it's not like. And then we had work because that was a Thursday night that you
Yeah.
guys were driving up. So like, you would have had all day Friday to get that sorted. So
yeah, I'm glad my car's fixed. Glad everything seemed okay. It wasn't too bad. It was just a whole ordeal. But
Yeah.
Mhm.
anyway, I do want to hear about your guys' Memorial Day weekend trip. 'Cause I feel like I've been out of the loop on things.
I mean, trying to think of like the TLDR here. I mean, we went to Marquette, obviously. I don't know. We didn't even say it. Maybe we said that last week. Went to Marquette in the UP. That was awesome to go back and like be in the UP, but like have money to buy and enjoy things. It was really weird. I'd like go to all my favorite places and like I didn't feel that bad about like being able to spend some money. I bought a
yeah, like
nice,
at Donkers, it's like $15 sandwich. Eh?
it was so good.
It's like yeah, $15. That sounds about right.
Yeah, I
But
always
like
get the
I
cheapest
remember
option, and
when we went there, yeah, in college, and it's like fuck. $15 for a goddamn sandwich. Better only get water to drink for the night, like not
Yep,
buying anything
yep.
else.
Mhm. Yeah, I bought like a mountain bike jersey that I really I mean, it's super cool. It was a little expensive and it was like it was from a brewery. But it's just nice to be able to enjoy that type of stuff. And the mountain biking was super fun. Definitely a lot different than the trails here. They're a lot more raw and like hand cut instead of like machine cut type of trails. So a lot more techy and a lot more like rocky.
A lot
The
more
sec
steep elevation too. Like you
Yeah,
can get elevation, but it's a lot more mellow, I feel like here.
right.
At
Well,
least
I
what
mean,
I've
in the
biked.
Minneapolis metro, it's just not
Pretty
as
flat.
elevation,
Yeah.
there's not as much elevation as there is out there. And the second day, Joseph was like aggressively hungover, as he put it. So he tapped out. But we went on this trail called Harlow Lake, which on YouTube it looked pretty doable. Like it looked hard, but we're like, it'll be fine.
We're experienced at this point.
Yeah. So we also met up with our buddy Josh. He's been on the podcast as well. But he lives there. So met up with him and we are like,
He's why I was aggressively hungover too.
you guys were egging each other on.
Yes. We finished a fifth of whiskey that night.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
You guys are like bragging about it in the morning. You're like dead.
Worth it.
But
I was also up at 5 a.m. that day because I
that was
couldn't
your own
sleep.
choice, man.
I couldn't sleep.
It sounds like
It's of all the alcohol.
No, I wasn't drinking the night before.
Oh,
So, anyways, we we're like, let's leave at I think we said like 10 or 11. So Josh shows up an hour later because it's Josh. And then we get to the trail, and then like I had to find a trail pass, and it was a whole thing. But we finally get to the fucking trail, and it's a multi-use trail, which I was like, okay, those exist.
mhm.
But this was hard to hike. Like there was rocks and roots and shit all over the place. It was fucking brutal, like super hard. So we ended up kind of just going on a bike walk more than a bike ride. There was a ton of elevation, but it was pretty fun because we were able to like, I kind of like, I'd say after like we got to the top because there's like a peak and like an overlook. It was fucking gorgeous, but there's just big like rock slabs which you can't really get down, here in the metro. But we ended up just kind of reframing it as like ways to like what's called sessioning. So like we would kind of walk to a part where like this looks kind of bikeable, and then like discuss, which line we're gonna take and how we're gonna do it.
Mhm.
And I feel like that was super fun to, kind of do it like that, and it was really really challenging. I feel like I got a lot better being not as scared. Went over the handlebars like 2 or 3 times that day, but so did Josh, dude. Like there's a super steep like rock roll. So it's just a huge rock face, pretty slick and pretty fucking steep. And I like went down it like brakes. The thing is, if you have your brakes on too much, you lose grip. It's just
Right.
physics. So you can't be too hard on your brakes because you'll fucking fall. And you have to lean back as far as you can because it's so steep. So I like barely skin of my teeth make it. And then everyone else is like, well, now I got to do it because Gabe did it. So Josh does it, goes over the handlebars into a pit of rocks, like
Oh
immediately.
my
And we're like,
god.
oh, fuck. So like we run up to him, his bike, the chain's off, like the chain guard's
Yeah.
like kind of fucked. And Josh is just like, Josh is usually like always in a great mood. And he's just like,
Mhm.
fuck. And when he says that, there's a fucking problem.
Yeah.
So, his back got gashed with some rocks. He had some bruises.
Oh.
But luckily, he was okay to bike out because we were like maybe 60% of the way through the trail.
Mhm.
And, he was able to bike out, but we went later in the afternoon and he ended up, taking a break. Probably for the best because he was in a rough shape. But I don't know, it was fun. Did a lot of
So
hiking.
it was just
hiking
the two of you that went
No,
there?
so it was Tim and Nicole also went. So
Oh, okay.
that day it was Tim, Nicole, Josh, and I all doing that. And we were all in over our head. It was a double black, and we're like, it'll be fine, man. And pretty hard.
We did those downhill double blacks. Or
That was a
those just
single black.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, double blacks actually means something crazy. I don't know.
Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk?
Well, I feel like when I'm snowboarding, a double black doesn't scare me much more than a single black. 'Cause I'm like, whatever. It's steep. I get it. You
You've
know?
also been snowboarding a lot longer than you've been skiing.
But exactly that. I've snowboarded for fucking 12 years, but I've biked for, I don't know, this is the only year I've been taking it seriously, but like 3 years, I'd say. So,
Mhm.
not different.
That's fun though. You guys didn't go up to Houghton at all? You stayed in the Marquette area.
Nah. I mean, there's so much to do in Marquette. Like, we did a bunch of hikes in the afternoon and even the hikes before, like a hike before the day we left. And, you know, as is tradition, anytime I travel someplace, I'm like, I should live here. So, been looking at jobs casually there.
I mean, Marquette would not be the worst place to live, honestly.
No, Marquette's fucking great. You got great snowboarding, you got great mountain biking, you got lake, you got some good hikes. Like it's a cool area.
Great
Just
college.
no, terrible college. But the job market isn't exactly booming
Yeah, I
in the
wouldn't
UP,
imagine. I
you
wouldn't
know.
imagine.
So
You could work IT professional at the university.
I'd do that. I don't fucking care. They don't have an
Okay.
IT degree.
Dude, just go back to your old job at Up and Running, man.
No, no. I'd
Go
rather
back
get
on
paid twice as much for fixing computers.
the.
3 times. I don't know. A decent amount. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a fun trip.
Nice. Sounds fun.
Mhm.
Did anything of note happen in the last couple weeks? Day from or the Memorial Day. I can't fucking talk.
I mean, last couple of weeks, I took a blacksmithing class.
Ooh,
Um,
where was that at?
that was it was like literally 5 minutes away. There's like this fucking
Everything's
blacksmith.
5 minutes away now, Gabe. We're not there,
I
and all of a
know.
sudden, all
Where
these
was
things
my
are 5 minutes away.
blacksmithing class,
Oh my
dude?
gosh! Oh my gosh! Kiss
What
my
the
ass.
fuck?
No, it was super cool though. We ended up making like I think 5 different things. So like the first one we made was a just like so it's called like a scroll, and that's basically just like a swirl that you make. Like you just like heat the metal up and you like bend it around. So first piece we did that. We just did like an S with like some like a bend in it and like some like small designs on like the tips. The second piece was like gate hook. So like like you would like tie it off to like one end of the gate, and then there's like a hook on the other end to like latch it into the actual like fence. That one I think was like my favorite piece I made, and then we made like this like wall hanger thing out of angle stock. So like we basically it was like two. I don't know. I'll show you guys pictures later. But basically just like bolt it onto the wall and you can like hang stuff off of it. So like honestly like I could see it being used for like a potted plant or something like that, like a hanging plant.
Sure.
And then the fourth one we made a pair of tongs, like metal working tongs. So like they're like I don't know, like probably like 3 feet long or so, maybe 2 feet.
Pretty meta.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, dude. Like you make it was so cool because like you make your own tools that you then use to make other shit with. So I don't know, it's super rewarding. And then the last piece that we made was a serving fork. So it was supposed to be like a meat serving fork, and I'm like, all right, cool. Like really gonna get a lot of use out of this one. But it was super cool, like just being like, because you started off with just like a piece of like rectangular stock, and you like split it, and then you have to like draw those two like tongs out, and then the process of like bending the tongs or like the tines of them are like was really cool because you'd have to like be very careful to not heat it up too much or else you'll fucking burn it, and it's just like a complete mess when the metal burns. And it was overall a very rewarding like experience, and I can totally see myself getting more into it once I have like a shop or something like that. But it's one of those things
Because you
where, like,
really you only
Sorry.
need like a fire and like an anvil, right?
yeah, except like the fire is pretty important because you need it to actually get hot enough.
Right.
Because like I mean
Yeah, I
like
feel
we're
like your house wouldn't be cool with like you having a fucking fire.
no, definitely not. And like the thing is like we're heating this metal up to like I don't know, like 1900 degrees Fahrenheit, and just
Yeah.
beating the shit out of it with hammers. And and I got to use a power hammer. Do you guys know what a power hammer is?
Yeah, they're cool as fuck.
Yeah, so like for anybody who doesn't know what a power hammer is it's basically just like this mechanical contraption that just like has two dies on either end, and it just like smacks them down like super fucking hard. which is why it's called a power hammer because it hammers it down with power. Duh. And dude, using that thing is so intimidating. Like I think
Yeah.
I was like I think I was trying to like reduce or like draw out like some like 1/4 inch bar stock, and like I put it in there, it just fucking ate that thing up. I was like, holy fucking shit! Like trying to pull this thing out of it, and yeah, it was insane. And I was like so dirty by the end of it. I had so many fucking blisters on my hands. Like I'm still
Mhm.
recovering from all the blisters on my hands. Um,
Damn.
but yeah, so that was really cool. It was like an all weekend ordeal too.
I was gonna say, I can't imagine that was one session you made those 5 things.
No, no, yeah, it was from like 9 until 4, or 9 until 4 Saturday and Sunday, and then also the pain in the ass is because on Saturday and Sunday those are like my two longest runs of the week, and it's like
Mm.
okay, well my friends want to hang out after this blacksmithing class, so I was waking up at like fucking like 5 o'clock. Like I think the on my long run day I woke up at like 4:30 to go running, and it's just like I was so beat by the end of those days because it was like woke up early and then ran and then was on my feet all day beating the shit out of metal like for
Mhm.
like 7 hours, and then I would go and I would drink with my friends, and it's just like holy fuck, like what am I what am I doing to myself?
You
Yeah.
probably could have gone with not running those days, but
Dude, dedication.
sure.
I guess so.
And then last weekend, so Memorial Day weekend, I was supposed to go up and backpack up in the Whites. Um, and I got up on Saturday morning at like 5 o'clock, ready to go drive up to the Whites. And I'm like texting Justin, and we were both looking at the forecast, and where we were supposed to be camping for the night was supposed to get wintry mix, and it was supposed to be into the 20s. And I was like, yeah, I don't have gear for that right now. So then we had to cancel that, sadly. But it wasn't the end of the world because like both of us still had like cookouts around here, just drank with friends, chilled out.
Mhm.
But
Nice.
yeah,
Usual.
Must be nice to have a group of friends.
You just said you came to visit us.
No, I know. It was a great time. I will say though, like you guys can probably tell, but like so obviously me and Emily got there. So I picked up Emily around 5 p.m. We talked like the whole way there, and then hung out with you guys or with her or you guys like all day Friday and all day Saturday. By Sunday morning before I left, my social battery was just empty. Like I just could not like because I never had
Yeah.
you don't really get alone time. Like, I mean them sleeping in the living room, like you don't really chance to just like be alone. So my Sunday morning, I just couldn't even like talk to you guys hardly. So like my social energy was just absolutely drained, you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah,
But
I get
that's
that.
how it is.
That's how it be.
Uh, One other thing I wanted to mention is so after I got back, um, this week my first week like back to work and like trying to just kind of reset my whole self. So good like reset point. So I like reworked my schedule for the summer to try to you know, make it a little more realistic on like when I'm going to bed, when I'm getting up, and when I'm doing stuff during the day. But I finally started going back to the gym this week. Um, so I'm vaccinated now and I feel comfortable going back. And I'll tell you what, I went Tuesday night or Tuesday afternoon, and I'm just doing 4 exercises. First one, some weighted lunges, right? A classic, get a little leg workout in. And
Mhm.
you know what? I go over to the dumbbell rack and I grab me some 35s, and I'm like, this feels like something I used to do in the past. It was too much weight. It was too much
Oh
weight.
shit.
I've not been able to walk the past
Jane and
two
I literally just
days.
looked at each other and made a look.
dude, the reason I say that is because today I did legs and I did weighted lunges, and I was like, oh, I'm feeling saucy. I'm gonna move up to 40s,
hmm
and that
hmm
was like, oh,
Yeah, this is the first time
Wow.
I've worked out in over a year.
oh,
Besides like running.
Jacob.
And, dude, I
Yeah,
have
how'd that
not been
go?
able to fucking walk, dude. It has been so bad. It fucked me so hard. Like the arm stuff, I've been like a little sore, so I'm fine. But yeah, like yesterday, like just sitting down and like bending over to grab something. It's just been the worst pain.
Mhm.
I went back again today and just did a pretty easy workout. I did like some goblet squats, which wasn't too bad, but I was hoping the soreness goes away because I haven't mountain biked yet, my new mountain bike, because I've just been in so much pain. I'm gonna try to go tomorrow or this weekend, but
That should help a lot,
it,
honestly.
Yeah, I found like if I walk for a bit, like it gets better. But
Hmm.
if I sit down for too long, then I try to get up, it's just so much pain.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you
dude,
know,
I
it'll be
went.
fine.
I went to the gym yesterday, and it was the first. So in Minneapolis, they had the mask mandate until, well, I guess it'd be Tuesday night technically. So yesterday was like the first day that it was done, and I'm fully vaccinated, so I was like, I'm gonna take it off. I want to get sweat in my face because that's the worst part.
Mm.
Um, so I'm gonna take it off, and I forgot all the dumb fucking faces I make when I like grunt or like when I'm like
Mm-hmm.
lifting something. Like it's always just hidden. So like I check, I look in the mirror for like check my form and stuff.
Right, right, right.
And then it's just like, oh God, that's a gross fucking face. I am I am straining to stay conscious right now. It was definitely an experience.
I
Uh,
saw a really funny TikTok of like, yeah, like first conversations without masks, and somebody's talking to this guy, and he's just like, it's like fucking around with his tongue, and like, because like you could do that before, nobody would
Yeah.
notice. And he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, sorry," and he's like, you're just in your lip and shit. It's like, oh, I've definitely done some of that stuff, and I gotta like tone it back. But
Oh yeah, I'd be at work walking around with my mask on, being like, okay, I got to do this and this, but like saying it quietly. It's like, oh, I can just talk to myself. No one's gonna fucking know. And then
mhm.
like recently we've been able to take our masks off, and it's like I'll say something like, oh wait, people are like able to see me now, and like I can't hide it. I need to tone it down there a little bit.
Yeah, I can't mumble to yourself.
Yeah.
Purdue lifted their outdoor mask mandate, so you can walk around outside without your mask. We still have to wear it indoors. And I was walking to a lab the other day. I'm like, yeah, I don't have to wear it outside anymore. It's so nice. And I walked in, went into my lab, walking down the hallway, see a guy down the hall wearing a mask. I'm like, oh yeah. And he gave me kind of a weird look. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Go to my office. I'm like, I did not put my mask on when I entered the building. It's like, ah,
mhm,
shit. It's like, I don't know, I still gotta remember to do that stuff, but
mhm.
it has been feeling a little more normal. Like when I was in Minnesota in Wisconsin, when I was stuck in Wisconsin, nobody was wearing fucking masks.
No, Wisconsin
Uh,
Wild West, dude.
yeah, that small town Wisconsin did not give any fucks. They had stricter regulations on dining, um, but yeah, they didn't care. But like when I walked in the hotel and the front desk person wasn't wearing a mask, I'm like, all right, this is the Wild West. It'll be all right. All right, Gabe, you had a topic that you wanted to talk about tonight.
Yeah, it's actually kind of a good transition from the gym topic. And it's also happening at work. I get two separate occasions, which is what struck the old rocks around in my brain to come up with this
Mm,
idea.
mm,
And it's awkward social situations you can't escape, in which like you kind of feel trapped or there's like no real way to get around it socially, without you coming off like an asshole.
mm,
Uh, for example, I've had these two people, one at the gym and one at work, both nice people. I'm gonna start out that way. They're nice
hmm
people. I don't mind working with the one guy. I don't mind, small talk with the guy at the gym. Uh, the problem is they want to hang out outside of those spaces,
hmm
and I do not want to hang out with them outside of these spaces. Uh, so they keep asking me to hang out outside of work or outside of the gym. And especially with the one at work, there's no good way around it without it making it weird unless I get a beer with him, which is what he wants me to do. For like
hmm
he's been saying it since probably, I don't know, the first project I had with him was probably December, I think. And it's like, ah, yeah, COVID is so bad. No, it was before this. It was fucking way before this last summer. I'm like, yeah, COVID's terrible, you know, some other time, right? But
Solid excuse.
That was a great excuse. Yeah.
it was the perfect excuse. But COVID is ending. I'm not okay, not ending. It's winding down. Things are getting more relaxed. People are getting fully vaccinated. Stuff is opening up. So now he's like, "Hey, stuff's open. Let's grab that beer." And I'm like, "Oh, but fuck." And I have nothing else to say. And he's a nice dude. It just he's very like weird and kind of like awkward, like more
hmm
for more than my taste, which is I'm a pretty awkward weird
Is
dude.
he similar age or is he older?
he's a similar age, and he's from Michigan as well. And I work like pretty closely with him. Like I message him almost every
Mhm.
day, and it's like I don't have any issue working with this guy. Like he's actually pretty easy to work with, and he gets shit done, and I get shit done. It's just I don't I don't I want to keep that space in that ring, and there's just like there's no way for me to say no. I feel like without it being bad. You know what I mean? Not it being weird.
I have a kind of solution for this work one, not for the gym one, but like
Hmm.
rope Tim into it, man. Rope Ryan into it. Like you said, oh, you have a buffer. Like let's go to a bar and it's like you, Tim, Ryan, and this guy.
I thought about that.
You have a
Yeah.
little bit, and maybe it's the thing you have to do like once a month. And for one, it might not be as bad as you think it's going to be.
Hmm.
Two, even if it is, just think of it as like a work thing. Like you have to do it for work.
I don't
So
want to do
like,
work outside of work, man.
at least you could drink alcohol. At least
Is
you'll be
Go
buzzed.
drink, talk. I think the big kicker, like, because I've hung out like with coworkers outside of work, and you got to try to not talk about work.
I
You just
know.
got to make
Yeah.
it anything else, because when you start talking about work, it just sucks. It may like, and then you can feel everyone's just like, why are we talking about this? Pivot right now and just pivot to anything else.
Well,
Yeah.
so in my boss, like concerts are coming out again. Like they're getting scheduled, and my boss listens to similar music to me, and he's invited me to a few concerts, and it's like I would honestly go to a concert with them, but it's
Yeah.
like all we talk about are work and the music. Like that's
Mhm.
pretty much it. So it's like, how do you like? I feel like we're just gonna end up talking about work,
Yeah.
you know? Uh,
I don't know. The work guy, I think you give it a shot and bring Tim along at least as a
I think
buffer.
the
You
gym
don't have
guy's
to invite
kind
him
of
over.
sure, and he does live in the same neighborhood as us. I
Yeah.
think he might be in Uptown, but not far.
Mhm.
So maybe I mean I told my dad about this. I was like, "What do I do? You're older. You've been through this. What do you do?" And he's like, "You like beer, don't you?" I'm like, "Well, shit. I mean, yeah."
Does the Pope shit in his hat? I mean, come on.
I mean, I am a fan, so maybe I just suck it up. But the gym guy,
Or-
he's definitely more weird. Super nice, but
How'd you
just
even
like
start talking to this dude?
the gym guy or the
Yeah,
work guy.
the gym guy.
Well, I mean, there's like a handful of us that go often, so we like recognize each other. So then you just do the whole, "Hey, how's it going?" thing. Uh,
Mhm.
that's kind of just how that started. But we talked about this in before. I talked to the lady at the front desk all the time because
Yeah.
she's
Wait,
like right
hold
there when I
on.
walk in. I
Okay,
found out her
hasn't there?
name.
I was
By
gonna
the
say,
way.
wasn't there an update
Yeah.
with that?
Oh, we need to get the update.
Yeah, she spoke in the third person. It wasn't anything special.
Oh,
So she's in the third person. So her name is Betsy. Um,
Wait, how'd you get her to do that? Or was it just random one day?
she was just like going. She was just telling me a story, and then she like said it in the third. Heard in the third
bro,
person.
she probably realized. She probably realized that you
dude.
didn't know her name.
She threw you a
No,
fucking lifeline,
no,
dude. Yes,
don't make
yes.
me believe that.
Guaranteed.
Dude,
exactly what it is.
Guaranteed.
That's 100% what she did. Who the hell talks in the third person literally ever?
I don't
Okay,
know,
I will
dude.
say
People
I
people
did.
talking to third person do it either all the time or not at all.
This
Right.
was the
Her
only
just
time
throwing
she's
that
ever
in.
done it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but I feel like if you tell the story of how she said it, it makes a bit more sense. Like it's not just a rant. Because you were telling me it the other
Yeah,
day.
she was talking about can't remember the full thing. She was talking about like hanging out with her friends and how they were like egging her on, and she was like, you know, it came out pretty natural. It
Like
wasn't like
her friends were like, Betsy, you gotta do this.
yes, yeah,
Oh, okay. That makes a lot
yeah.
more sense.
Hmm.
So now the question is, Gabe, ever since you've learned her
I have
name,
not said her name since. No.
Okay, okay.
I'm too scared because she's gonna
I know,
know.
I know.
It's too
She's gonna
soon.
know.
I have to wait. I have to wait like a couple months.
Yeah.
Make sure you
I'm
write
glad-
it down just in case you forget.
Well, I know the other two guys at the gym's names pretty well, like in response to not knowing the front lady's name, because like I will not never forget your name. Like you are Todd.
Oh, and Betsy's not a super common name either, so
No, it helps.
okay.
But
I'm glad
yeah,
we got that result.
the gym guy, he asked me like every day. He's asked me the last 3 or 4 times. Because he found out I like mountain biking because I talked to the front desk lady and we were talking about like Memorial Day plans. He's like, "Oh yeah, I got a bike." And I'm like, "You got like a mountain bike?" He's like, "No, it's a bike." And I was like, "I mean, you can come along, but it's not gonna be fun for you." Like
People don't realize like the distinction between a regular bike and a mountain bike. Like
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a full rigid like bike. I'm pretty sure.
He and the bike are not gonna have a good time.
So I always like, I have people at work who ask to bike with me. Like I have two or three, and like I don't mind if you're just tagging along. Like, just gonna go ride bikes anyways. It's not like you're
Mhm.
talking a lot, and it's fun to have extra people. So I kind of want to like, sure, and then like he takes out a full rigid bike on a mountain bike trail and goes, "This fucking sucks. I'm never doing this again." But I don't know.
And I don't know. Don't punish him like that. I don't think.
I know I was like trying to like tell him like without, again, weird social situation. I was trying to tell him like, hey, your bike probably isn't made for this, without it sounding like I don't want to hang out with you ever, even though I don't really
I
want to
think
hang
with this
out.
gym again, David Griswold. My opinion on this gym guy, because it's not the same. The work guy, you see him every day. You have some rapport with him. You kind of get his deal. This gym guy is a complete stranger, more or less. You can
Mhm.
just keep saying, "I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy," and eventually he'll get the hint. Hopefully.
You hope.
But on that one, I would just keep saying I'm busy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But I
But
think the reason for both these situations, and I think these situations in general, these social situations you can't escape. The reason they're inescapable is because you feel like you're morally in the wrong, right? Because
Mhm.
these people are nice people, and so
Again,
you feel
yeah.
like you don't want to, be mean, or like stomp on their feelings because they are genuinely nice, but you might just not vibe with them or think, I don't know, they're annoying or something one way or another.
Yeah, I don't have any like ill feelings towards either of these people. Like they're like, I don't mind having conversation, like side conversation with them. It's just, we're not there.
Yeah,
Not like
Well, how else are you gonna
vibing in
get
a
there
way.
unless you take him to some miserable, grueling mountain
I
bike
know.
trail?
It's like I don't want to like have it like, oh, dude, this fucking sucked.
but Gabe, what if he loves it and then he like buys like a $3,000 bike and he wants to go with you every day?
Shows up with like a Yeti. Hey, you ready to go?
Oh, dude, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, and
uh,
I don't really know what the correct answer is in a lot of these situations. I mean, I feel like because yeah, like I'm like you, I don't want to be the asshole. I'm not gonna tell someone to their face that I don't enjoy spending time with them,
mhm.
um, if that is true. Because if they're generally just being kind, like that doesn't feel like fair to them. Like there are plenty of
Exactly.
people back in high school who uh, you're nice, but I don't want to hang out with you outside of this specific setting. Uh,
Yeah,
so
and
yeah,
I
it's
feel
just
like,
hard.
I mean, maybe this is just my experience where like when I'm asking people to hang out with, and they like don't get back to me, I'm just like, I'm not gonna push it. Like, if you want to
Mhm.
hang out with me, you're gonna tell me, or you're gonna like make some form of effort to do so,
Hmm.
Like
Yeah, and
it's got to be 50-50.
that's where I'm at with it. Like if I invite somebody to do something and like if they either like give me, like a just like a abrupt response, be like, "Nah, I'm not really feeling it today," or like something like that, and they don't offer like, "Well, I'm not
A
feeling it today."
reschedule.
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
reschedule, or if like I invite them like two times to the same thing and they're both like, "Nah, I'm good," then I'll just like stop inviting them. And it's
Hmm.
like I feel like some of this situation is because the other person isn't picking up on this shit that we think they should be picking up on.
Sure. Yeah. And who
And
knows, maybe I'm not being clear enough with it because like
I
I
want to
get
make
awkward. I'm not like smooth in any way. I'm like, oh yeah, sure, dude. Or like I'm busy, it's not like I'm doing it with grace.
right.
Right.
I want to make a distinction here because I think we could all agree in a similar, as kind of adjacent situation. Let's say on a dating app, go on a date with somebody. You think it went great, they don't. We wouldn't want them to ghost us. You would prefer they would just come out and say, "Hey, thanks for showing up. Don't think it's gonna work out." Right? I think in
Mm-hmm.
that kind of context, we'd all agree. Or even if the situation flipped, if we didn't like them and they do, be like, we'd probably want to send them a message saying, "Hey, thanks for meeting. Don't want to see you again."
Okay, but
I
if
think
you're
that's
working with this person,
That's what I was gonna say. This is different, I feel like, because these are people you see on a consistent basis. So
hmm
there's that fear of making things awkward.
You don't want to
Um,
say you're incompatible, right?
right. You don't
You
want to
know, you don't want to
burn
say like,
bridges.
"Hey, I don't think I want to be your friend," and then
Yeah.
like, "Oh, so now we got to work together."
yeah,
But
because then it's like I still have to ask you to do this thing for me, and you have to ask me to do this thing for you. Like, you know.
mhm.
Hmm. And
Whereas
yeah,
in dating,
just
you
especially in that work
fucking
situation, I think it's way more obviously um, delicate. The gym guy, it would be still awkward, not as awkward. Generally, you're not required to talk to him ever. You just probably see him in the locker room and be like, "Okay, this is awkward. We're sitting across the room and we're not saying anything." But
Mhm.
Just pull a power move
Yeah.
and dry your balls in the hand dryer.
While
No,
making
we're
eye
really
contact.
busy. Just like,
Yeah, I just wanted to be clear. Like, we're all for direct communication. But I think in this situation, I think we just don't want to make anyone uncomfortable
yeah,
or
it's the
ourselves
proximity.
uncomfortable.
It's that proximity.
Yeah. But when I was thinking about this, the one that came to mind was family gatherings, just family stuff, especially with extended family. Where like you're supposed, whenever you're like, as long as you're supposed to love everyone, right? You're supposed to like get along and love everyone. But sometimes people are just awkward or weird or annoying. I'm not even saying like, oh, grandpa's racist again. I'm just saying like people being just kind of weird in general, you know?
Uh-huh.
Um, like one of my aunts is like very braggy about like her life and her like kids, whatever, and like that's fine, but it's like doesn't mean I necessarily want to listen to you talk about it for like 3 hours. Um, and just like all the oh hi, good to see you, and like I saw a TikTok. I know I'm on TikTok a lot, but guess what? It's my life now. Do you guys remember when you were a kid and your parents were on the phone with some relative and you'd be like, "Oh, you want to talk to Jacob? Here, Jacob, come talk." It's like, "No, I don't want to talk to him." And then they put you on the phone and it's like, "Hi, Aunt Sue. Yep, I miss you too. Yep." But it's like that shit. It's like
Yeah.
nobody wants this. I don't
Mhm.
want it. Aunt Sue says she wants it. I don't think she really does. And it's just like we don't need to put up this front that we
You,
have to like
you
each
both
other.
don't want to talk.
It's like, yeah, we can love each other, just we have to like you. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, but you can't really escape that stuff because it's just like societal pressure to like love and love being around your family.
I feel like you can get along with your family without having to love them, right? Like there's always gonna
Hmm.
be that like those black sheep in the family. Like I am not a fan of these people, but like at family gatherings, you're like, how's it going? You know,
Hmm.
you can get by, but it's not like I don't know. You can definitely vibe with certain parts of your family where
Right.
you're
You
like,
kind of find the people you like
yeah,
more, and you kind of just
you're
move
like I'm
towards
gonna
them.
go
And
drink in the corner with you, and
yeah.
then
And that's the beauty of being 21 is being able to drink at
oh, I
family
know,
gatherings.
yeah.
Well, it's just getting older in general, right? Like,
Mhm.
as you get older, you kind of learn who people like really are. It's not just when they're talking to you as a baby voice stuff, you know.
Hmm.
Like
When
I've
you
come to
think
really,
adults are perfect too, I feel
oh
like
yeah.
they're infallible and I don't know.
Well, I've come to
Definitely.
really enjoy a few of my cousins because, like, when I was younger, we would just hang out and they'd be like, "Oh, little Jacob, whatever." But now that we're all older and we all drink, it's like, okay, I can talk to you guys about real shit now, and it feels good because you guys are actually like cool.
Mhm.
Before you were just kind of like my family. Um, so there are pros to that, but I'm just yeah trying to get at like there are situations where you're supposed to like a certain person because of societal norms, even if you don't actually like them, and that can be
Mhm.
frustrating.
I was just talking to my coworkers today at lunch about how at Thanksgiving I still get put at the kids' table at my on my dad's side, but I'm 23 at this point.
Hmm.
Uh, I'll be 24 next Thanksgiving. So like I'll get kind of drunk and then like my cousins that are like I don't know how they are like 12 at this point. They'll be like talking to me about like Minecraft and Fortnite like I remember Minecraft and I'm like fucking blitzed out of my mind. Just
Gabe likes his spicy juice.
yeah. It's just like the contrast. Like they don't know.
Yeah.
They have no fucking clue. But it's like
It's just
I
the
can talk
adult beverage.
I can talk shop about Minecraft, like whatever.
Dayton, do you have any societal situations you can't escape?
Yeah, I think mine are all about movies and TV shows. People
Mm.
people are always like, "Man, you need to watch this show. You need to watch this movie." And I'm like, "All right, I'll make sure I put it down on my list." Ha 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 ha. I'm never gonna fucking watch that.
Jacob just did this to you earlier this week. Are you calling Jacob out?
With what? With
The
what?
Bo
Okay,
Burnham
but
special.
to be fair, I put that in the group chat. Okay, that wasn't
Sure.
just I didn't just send that to Dayton because I admit it. I'm like I don't
You
know if
did
Dayton would like this.
disclaimer, yeah.
Yeah,
You
I was
did.
mostly
Yeah.
talking to you and Joseph. Dayton just
Uh-huh.
happened to reply.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
because
I feel that for you, Dayton.
it's just like it's because like for people like you, Jacob, who get a lot out of like movies and TV shows, like I
Yeah.
want to be able to like share that with you, but like I just it takes me so much to sit
Hmm.
down and like do something like that where I'm just like, bro, like I don't know about that one.
Well,
And at this
the
point, I
worst
could be,
part-
We got Naruto dating. Even
yeah,
if we disagree on that a little bit, but
The
yeah.
the worst part is when they follow up, like, "Oh, did you see that yet?" And you're like,
Mhm.
I haven't gotten
I
around to it,
know, I
and
know.
it's
I
like
feel like
I
me
have no
calling up
interest.
hardcore because I literally before this podcast started, I was asking Joseph if he watched certain things yet.
You're getting doxxed right now,
But
dude.
Joseph, you told me you were gonna watch an episode of My Hero Academia, so
I know, and I just haven't yet, but I want to. Here's the thing: is it's not like
Jacob's
it's an
so
episode.
self-conscious right now.
I know.
But like that's different because we're both watching it together. I just didn't get the chance to watch it when it came out. Like it's not like, oh yeah, I'll start it when I get to it. Like watching the show. You know, I just haven't
Yeah.
watched this most recent episode yet.
Jay, you're killing me right now.
I know.
You're like, but you were gonna watch it, right?
You're gonna watch.
I'm not that guy, right?
If
I
I were
feel
in
like that's kind
Joseph's, if I were in Joseph's position right there, I'd just be like,
Sure, it's on my list.
It is. I want to watch. I'm curious.
I never said which
gaslighting.
list.
I feel like it's kind of how we all are dating about sports. Or if somebody came up to like, I mean, maybe I'm talking just for myself, but like, it was like, hey, you like football or you watch the game? It's like, oh, not really. And like, I can kind of bullshit a little bit. But it's like, I don't want to talk about this. I'm never going to get into football or any sport like that.
Right.
Back in the day,
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah, and like especially like with like pro sports too, because like at like work, I have like a few people that are like really big, I think Giants fans, New York Giants fans, and I mean out here everybody's a huge Pats fan, and like they'll just be like, bro, did you see like the Pats game like this past weekend? And they'll just like throw out some like random fucking like second string wide receiver and how they did like a little bit better than average. I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, and it's like either one, you have the option of just bullshit and just be like, bro, his game was nuts, dude. I cannot wait to see what he does the rest of the season. I really hope he doesn't get injured. You know, just freaking really butter him up.
Yep.
I have him in my fantasy league, dude.
Dude,
Did you
the
bring the
fantasy
refs
league
last
at
game? Oh
work-
my god, the refs are the worst.
The fantasy league at work is huge. Like the guy that like sets it up said he used to when he was younger, him and his brother would play or they'd be driving tractors, you know, because they're in the middle of fucking Minnesota, and like hold up whiteboards with what team or which player they're picking, and like when they drive past each other, like he's done fantasy football his entire life, and like this is his like element, and it's like, okay, you guys are really into this. I'm not getting anywhere near this.
Yeah. But at least, I mean, to be fair, like we're gonna do our own stuff to that amount, you know.
Yeah.
It's just like sometimes you get in those conversations where you kind of have to bullshit. But like honestly, like bullshitting can be kind of fun sometimes. Because like back to my car story, when I was waiting in the shop before it get fixed, it was almost done. I was talking to the guy at the desk for like a half hour, and he had a fucking life story to tell. But for most of we were talking about drag racing because he does drag racing stuff. And I held my own in that conversation. I was pretty proud of myself. Like, I don't know a lot about drag racing, but I was able to stay in there. And I'm like, you know what? That was a good conversation. Like, I was able to hold my own and contribute and ask questions. So, you know, probably never talk about it ever again, but it worked out.
But you learned a bit more that day.
Did
Yeah.
you talk about the rubber used in the tires?
We talk about tires a lot. Not the
Yeah.
specifics, but it's like how many tires you go through and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And just like crashes he's been in. And this dude had lived a fucking life. He was in Desert Storm and like a bunch. Yeah, it was a bunch of shit. It was a very interesting dude. I didn't mind talking to him, but it was funny. There was one point where he was talking about a race or whatever, and as he was talking, it kind of sounded like the race was longer than I thought it was. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure drag race like a quarter mile.
Yeah.
I was like, I asked him like, how long it was again? Like a quarter mile? He's like, oh yeah, like quarter to 3/8. I'm like, you're fucking nailed it. I got it.
Like on your phone, how long drag race? Quarter mile, right? Oh yeah, cool.
But like you can just tell these people who kind of just wanted to talk, you know. It's almost too hard to keep with the conversation, but
Dude, those people are the best because they like you for like literally just asking stupid questions. Like,
Yeah.
when I was
yeah.
on site, the one guy, the IT guy in Iowa, he really liked like dirt biking and he had a jacket. I'm like, I've dirt biked as a kid. I can't get by on this. And he just like talked to me about dirt biking. He's like, yeah, I like you, but I hate this other guy. And all I did was just like, talk
Gave him
about when I used to dirt bike.
the bare
Mhm.
minimum.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Knows
oh yeah,
what a dirt bike is.
He's like, oh, I used to ride a 225. He's like, no way, I'm going on a race, and he's like, he just did all the time. Like, fuck yeah, this.
That's the
Oh, yeah.
introvert's dream. Whenever
Yeah,
somebody
exactly.
else just starts talking
You're
about
driving this
something.
conversation. I don't even care.
The fears though game is like you're in those conversations and then they go, so what are you into? And it's like, ah, fuck. You ever heard of Attack on Titan?
Do you know what a weeb is?
Anime. Yeah.
I guess.
Oh my gosh.
The only other thing I wrote down for this was staying at your friend's house the whole weekend and you can't ever leave because it will hurt their feelings.
Wow.
Oh,
That can
Oh, you're taking a shot at us now.
sometimes, you just need some alone time, and I'm just joking.
I wouldn't care.
No,
I know you long enough to know that you would want that.
That's a callback to the social battery thing I said before. It's a lot, man. It's a lot to be. I mean, especially after this year, being around a lot of people for that like period of time. It's a lot of energy. Also, I learned on that trip, Emily. I'm not talking shit at all. I learned that Emily is an extrovert. For some reason, I saw her as an introvert. We were talking like the entire car ride. I'm like, this is great. And then I was like, wait, I am tired.
She loves talking to people.
Yeah,
sure.
it was a great time. Great time.
Travis,
hopefully
Emily,
we can
I'm
get
not
soon.
talking shit.
I am not talking shit.
I think. Oh, go ahead.
I realized on Sunday morning that I needed to leave. That is all.
I think I said on the podcast before, but when I saw Dayton like visiting all of his friends at like the bonfire, it's like I forgot how to do this. Like there was like Dayton like goes off and like talks to all his friends. He's just fucking gone in the mix, and it's like Cooper and I are like, oh, we have to talk to people. Like,
So, how do you know Dayton?
Like,
Yeah.
let's figure this out. And like after like a beer, I'm like, oh, I remember. Like it all came back. Like all the skills.
The skill tree came back.
Yeah, it was like
Re-unlocked.
skill tree unlocked after a beer. I can talk again. Yeah.
It is a skill though. Like jumping into that stuff can be tricky, but
Yeah.
And I mean, you could have just sat in the corner with Cooper the whole time if you really wanted.
Yeah.
Cooper
I
was
could've-
talking to people too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a
Yeah, we
standard
split up. Yeah.
Divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Yep. That do some
Yeah.
smelling salts apparently.
I learned a lot about Dayton, and I
What?
also taught them a lot about Dayton.
What did you learn about me?
Stay tuned next episode.
Oh,
No, I don't know. I don't have anything crazy.
I was surprised to hear, well, even just the video date of you doing smelling salts. I'm like, what the fuck is he
Like
doing?
smelling salts aren't that crazy.
No, it's
No.
not like he's doing meth, but I would never would have thought of that, but it kind of makes sense. Like
Smelling
doing it to
salts,
stay
like-
awake.
Like it's not a drug. Well, I mean, like you don't
I know.
ingest it. Like it's just
Like I
it
said.
opens up. It's a vasodilator. So I don't know.
Sense. I just would never have thought of that ever in that context. And just watching the video of you just doing it, taking multiple hits was pretty fun.
Jesus, it sounds so bad
Like
when you put
crack
it that way.
pipe.
It was crazy. He was doing smelling salts with a needle. It was wild.
The spoon and everything, man. I tell you what.
He ended up with a spoon. It was crazy.
He did both of his vaccinations in one night.
Oh my god! All right, well that's our episode for this week. I need to remind Dayton. I'm telling you to watch something.
Oh no!
Watch the episode of the podcast you weren't on. Just because I throw some shade at you, and I need to. I'll feel better if you respond, because I felt a little bad just throwing shade when you were away. So I need you to hear it and hit me back next episode.
Look at the apathy on his face.
I have thick skin, Jacob.
Okay, it was about your Naruto takes.
Like we
That's
filled
okay.
in
You know
on
what?
it.
I would talk just as much shit about your Naruto takes. So
There we go. All right. Well, hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the podcast. We're back, baby. The four of us should be this way for a little bit at least. I know we're doing some traveling this summer. Oh, Gabe's shaking his head.
I'm going
gone
on
next
site
week?
in 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
All right, so we got one more week.
Yeah.
This summer will probably be pretty, play by ear with everything, but it'll be fine. We'll have a good time. Don't forget to watch us on Monday nights on Twitch. We play some games. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then on Thursday nights we record the podcast. It's twitch.tv/EWF_podcast. Follow us on Instagram, EWF Podcast, and always find our show on YouTube and podcast services. But until next time, thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.